So my friends, welcome to a new crypto update video. Today we're talking about Chainlink. Why Chainlink? Because I believe that we might be on the verge of a huge breakout here. After our low was formed here, yes, in our buying zone between $12 and $10, so roughly $10 at the moment, the price has been moving up nicely again so far. We have repeatedly tested our uptrend here, that's this yellow line, and most recently, we've also tested the 200 SMA on the 4-hour chart as support. Well, what my targets are for the next few days or possibly the coming weeks, you'll definitely find out in today's update video. Also, possible swing positions that could be left running here. Before we get started, feel free to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, feel free to join the free Telegram talk and signal group. If you're interested in updates, news, and signals, you're more than welcome to join. You'll find the link for that for free down in the video description. And if you're still looking for an exchange where you can, for example, buy Chainlink or trade or do anything else, you can do all of that on my partner exchange, BingX. The link for that is also down in the video description. And besides, as I said, there are currently a bunch of bonuses to grab. Let's dive into the chart. At the moment, Chainlink is at $15.94. We've had a really nice upward movement here over the past few weeks. This trend has also been tested nicely again and again. I really like it. And as I said, also the 200 SMA. And depending on who watched the video this morning about Bitcoin and Ethereum and so on, if the Nvidia numbers turn out well for us this evening, as I said, this could give all coins, altcoins, Bitcoin, a huge push upwards. And I also see Chainlink in a position to, let's say, continue this trend. I believe in the last video, we already drew our fib level from our $30, or rather just under $31 from our current bull run top all the way down to our low at $10. We have exited the falling wedge, though I have to note here it's a rather weak falling wedge, sideways or even slightly upwards. We have formed a new trend and are now, I would say, facing a decision here. We have the next resistance. If we take a look here, this area is the next resistance. By now, this has flipped nicely to support. It's possible that Chainlink could pump at least up to nearly $18 in the next few days or even hours. If we take a look at the whole thing on the daily time frame, we can also see that the 200 SMA on the daily chart was resistance here once, where we got rejected, and then we had this retest here on this former resistance. All very good. If we're feeling a bit optimistic here, we could also say, okay, this was an inverse head and shoulders with a perfect retest, and now it's moving upward. So at the moment, in terms of patterns and sentiment, things are looking very bullish for Chainlink. The $23 up here, I find a bit exaggerated. As I said, up here we have the golden pocket. We still have inefficiency up here, and there's a supply, but who knows what could happen there. But in my opinion, it would be a bit too fast if we take a look at it. A 50% pump would be pretty intense, but why not? It would definitely be a possibility. For a first take profit, if anyone wants to take something here, you should maybe keep an eye on the 200 SMA around $18 because we were already rejected there last time. So how do we approach a trade setup here now? So my idea behind all of this at the moment would be with low leverage, you'd have to go at least below these lows up here. That would be 7% risk. So $1.14 would have to be dumped. And that also means using low leverage. That means even with 3x leverage, you'd still have a risk of 20 or 21% here. But as I said, if we move upwards, you'd already have 12%. The second target would be up here at 25 and the third up here at 44%. So in my opinion, the risk ratio would fit very well here, even though the risk is enormous. Of course, it's always the case that with such assets, especially when you're not quite at the bottom, but possibly right before a breakout, this could lead to us getting stopped out here as well. But it's an idea for you to consider if you're interested in this sort of thing. Just think about it. No financial advice, by the way. But it would be a possibility, and this yellow uptrend would also be protected. Of course, you can also tighten things up a bit if you say, okay, you only want to set it 5 or 6% directly below the yellow uptrend line. But I'd always be a bit cautious with that because trend lines like this tend to get tested. There are stop losses below them and also below wicks. That's why you should be careful. But if you're unsure, it's better to just leave it, especially now because of the ZOX and Nvidia numbers. So that's roughly my target for the next few weeks. If things remain bullish, there could even be a smaller so-called mini altcoin season before we possibly see the next rollover. Nothing has changed regarding the targets in general, so my maximum target is still at 35, 36 in the long term. But this could drag on for a very, very long time, especially since we've just had a long downward movement here. It's quite possible that sooner or later we'll see this final push, maybe now. But it could also take a little longer for all of this to play out. Otherwise, that's it from my side. If you have any other altcoin suggestions, feel free to write them in the comments below. And otherwise, I wish you a great day. Take care. Until then, ciao, ciao. And as always, stay crypto.